my niece, when she was born, and she was 24, or she's 25 now, she couldn't say Gina, so she called me Gigi. And then my cleaning company was named Gigi's Cleaning Company. So that's why it seemed like such a natural transition for me to do Gigi's Cleaning Company to Gigi's Cupcakes, just in case it failed and I can just go back to Gigi's Cleaning Company. So.
My cupcakes, tell me how this idea came about. I know it's a family recipe, right? Your grandmother? Okay.
My great-grandmothers, my great-aunts had bakeries in Texas. And I just osmosis. My grandmother, my great aunt Ruby invented the Texas milk chocolate for us. My mom's a baker, my grandmother's a baker, so it just is kind of a natural process for me. So.
Tell me what state you were in when you decided to walk away from the cleaning company and open up a cupcake company.
Well, I didn't
walk. What was going on with you?
Well, I didn't walk away from my cleaning company until I had 13 franchises because I didn't want to quit my day job, so to say. So I had 13 franchisees, and I had two company stores, and I just decided it was time. I didn't have time to clean anymore and bake cupcakes at 4 in the morning, so I decided to just let the cleaning go. But I had cleaned since I was 15, so a long time. And it was hard. It was my baby business. It was kind of like my, what's the word? I know, I can't concentrate. I just can't concentrate. I can't concentrate.
It's your baby business.
Yeah.
Sit back over to the wall a little bit. There you go. That's good. Good for her. Very young.
Go to our website, GG'sCupcakesUSA.com. You can read the story.
Okay.
Great story, and then you watch on the news and you'll see more about it.
Okay. Next time you come make it.
I'll turn the monitor up.
All right, tell me what state you were in whenever you decided to add the cupcake business onto the cleaning. What was going on in your mind?
Well,
Tell me about that time in your life.
Okay, I had finally come to peace with, being a country music singer that didn't make it in Nashville, and I had expanded my cleaning business. I had 5 girls that worked for me, and I just was ready to try something else. I was really at peace with God, and I loved cleaning. I loved my own little independent business. I didn't want to work corporate. And then my brother went to New York City and stood in line at a cupcake shop for 2 hours, and he called me. He was sitting at Central Park, and he's like, "These aren't as good as yours and Mom's. You should open a cupcake shop in Nashville." I'm like, you know what? I failed before, might as well try something. So I got off the phone and I prayed about it, and I called my mom and dad and I said, "I think I'm gonna open a cupcake shop." They're like, "Go for it. What can you lose?" I said, "Nothing except money." So I just went for it from there. And I told my friends, I was telling some of my friends, they're like, "Oh, bless her heart. Don't quit your day job." I'm like, I'm not gonna quit it. So I didn't quit it until I had 13 franchisees in place, and then I finally let the cleaning company go.
Did you have the money to open up a cupcake company?
No. Well, I had a little bit of savings, and I had great credit, and I had been in business for so long, but then I went to 4 banks and stood in line at the banks and talked to the people, and they all laughed in my face. And I was like, okay, want to laugh in my face? Let's see what we can do. So I took out $100,000 in my credit cards, cash advance, and just went for it. I was so determined to do it. I just felt like I had to do it. I don't know why. It's such a weird feeling when you have a calling.
That is amazing. So you had this amazing credit, obviously, from...
Had great credit.
From being a good steward of your money.
Good steward.
You did something that would seem out of character for you, to take out all this credit.
Very, very much out of character. I had all the bills paid off. Everything was just kind of shored up, and I had a great little life and a great little cleaning business, but it just didn't seem quite enough. So I thought I'd go for it.
Talk about some of the struggles along the way. Talk about the day that you were about to open this business right here.
It was today, and my mom was cleaning some of the chairs, and my dad was helping put things together, and my contractor came in. And he said, I forgot a bill. And I said, well, I just paid the plumber. He was waiting here too, a $300 plumbing bill. And I had just cleaned 3 houses to pay for that bill. And I said, well, I'm not going to be able to, I have $33 left to my name. He goes, well, it's a $15,000 drywall bill. And I was standing right there, and I melted on the floor. And my mom and dad dropped everything. They came over and they said, God's going to take care of you. He'll provide. I'm like, how's he going to provide? I was freaking out. but they're like, somehow it'll work out. And so I picked myself up off the floor and went home that day and said, okay, all right, here we go. Let's just go for it, see what happens. And it was February 21st, the next week, March 1st, because we skip a couple days in February. I only had that 1 week to pay a $4,500 rent, which I've never paid that in my entire life. I had to pay my employees and my food bill. And then I have a $15,000 drywall bill that the contractor forgot. So it was a little stressful. It's pretty stressful.
How long did it take you to dig your way out of this hole and actually start to turn a profit?
It took about a year. It took about a year. And I still cleaned. So I would come in here and bake in the early morning, and then I'd have a couple people that helped me here, and then I'd go and clean, then I'd come back and close. So it was a couple years. But I was used to hard work because I'm used to cleaning. So I'm very into manual labor and doing it myself. So it was very hard, but it was worth it.
So how many hours a day were you working during that time?
Probably 15 hours a day. Probably for the first year for sure. And then once I got the franchisees and I stopped cleaning, then it got a little better. And then I found great people, great managers to help me with this store and the Cool Springs store. So it got easier.
So you own 2, and then you have all the other
well,
franchisees under you.
I have 7 that I own. And then we have 84 total corporate and franchisees. So
Does that blow your mind?
sometimes, but I'm just the type of person where I just put my mind, I focus on things and I don't really think about it other than what other problem do I need to solve today. So I'm always thinking of writing my list like, okay, let's solve this, let's solve this. So I'm kind of a problem solver, I guess.
I mean, that many franchises in 5 years.
And I had a baby. And I'm a single mom. And I just carried around with me. She went everywhere with me. She's been on 27 plane flights. Bless her heart. It's just in every business meeting. It's been an interesting 5-year adventure.
So the baby was on your hip during all these
Oh,
business meetings?
she was here. So she wasn't on the hip. She was here.
This is unreal.
Yeah. So she's gone all across the country. She's Frost in the back. The manager here, Brad, he holds her when she's here. When we go to other stores, everyone just loves her. And so she has a big family, and she loves everybody. She's very into people. She's not afraid or shy. Of course, she can't be. So.
What would you say to somebody now if they said, "Oh, cupcake store, that's just the stupidest thing you could ever think of. That's crazy. That'll never work."
I'd say try one of our cupcakes, and let's see what you think after one bite. I don't know.
Obviously it's worked.
Obviously it's
all
worked.
those people who wouldn't give you a loan and those who said, "She's
Yeah.
lost her mind."
Yeah, my friend said that I used to clean for. She goes, I have to be honest. I would support you, but behind I'd be like, oh, bless her heart, I'm going to pray for her. I'm like, thank you, it worked. Thank you for praying for me. Thank you for the prayers, because that's really what got me through.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think this was your calling all along? You really weren't supposed to be a country singer?
I don't think I was. I think that I learned so much from being in the music business and studying people while on stage and reading people well and having to manage money and manage a cleaning crew. I think all of that has brought me to this. It's taught me a lot about just human life, and I'm maybe not in the corporate world. Here's a guest. Hi, welcome to Gigi's.